Yes. As my mother would say, as best as can be expected.
Yes.
I'll start us off here.
Please.
Krishna, Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna
Sutari Prajakacharya Ashtotar Shri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kunikiti Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Tham Ki Jai Navadip Tham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Gangamai Ki Jai Jamunamai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Maharaj. And thank you everyone for being with us tonight or this morning, depending on your location, for Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Monday, November 21st, 2022 in New York. Day later in India, and we are starting tonight with the third canto, 10th chapter, Divisions of the Creation, starting tonight with verse number 1. And very much eager to hear your comments and questions, and please share this link with your friends. And we're so happy you could be with us, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Akendra Prabhu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Viduro Vacha Antarhite Bhagavati Brahmaloka Pitamaha Praja Sasarja Kititha Daihikir Manasir Vipuhu. Sri Vidura said, O great sage, please let me know how Brahma, the grandfather of the planetary inhabitants, created the bodies of the living entities from his own body and mind after the disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Jnana Timidantasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Meditam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Pistam Sthapitam Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Tadhati Shapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashrita Deshatarine Vanchakol Patarupyascha Kripa Sindhobhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Vanchakolpatarubhyascha Kripasindhobhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare. For this chapter, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a brief comment. In the 10th chapter, the 10 types of bodies produced by dividing elements, starting with Prakriti, and the general characteristics of time are described. So 2 topics, the visions of the creation and time in general. Ye cha me bhagavan prishtas tvayartha bahuvittama tan vadasvanu purvyena chindi na sarvasangshayan. O greatly learned one, kindly eradicate all my doubts and let me know of all that I have inquired from you from the beginning to the end. Purport. Vidura asked all relevant questions of Maitreya because he knew well that Maitreya was the right person to reply to all the points of his inquiries. One must be confident about the qualifications of his teacher. One should not approach a layman for replies to specific spiritual inquiries. Such inquiries, when replied to with imaginative answers by the teacher, are a program for wasting time. So here, Vidura is encouraging Maitreya to speak. Ye cha me bhagavan prishta tvayartha bahuvittama. You are vastly learned, bahuvittama, and therefore, and you're powerful, Bhagavan. So you can answer the questions about which I've asked. Tan vadasva anapurvyena, from beginning to end. Please answer my questions. And chindi na sarvasamshaya, and cut to pieces, eradicate all my doubts. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada indicates that one should accept as a teacher a person in whom one has confidence, and that one should have confidence in a qualified person, a person with spiritual qualifications, not a mental speculator or non-devotee. All right, any questions or comments so far? Okay. Sutuvacha evaṃ sanchoditastena kshatrā kaushārabhir munihi prita pratyahatan prashnan hridistan atapargava. Suta Goswami said, O son of Prithu, the great sage Maitreya Muni, thus hearing from Vidura, felt very much enlivened. Everything was in his heart, and thus he began to reply to the questions, one after another. Purport. The phrase Sutu Vacha, Suta Goswami said, appears to indicate a break in the discourse between Maharaj Parikshit and Sukadev Goswami. while Shukadeva Goswami was speaking to Maharaj Parikshit, Suta Goswami was only one member of a large audience. But Suta Goswami was speaking to the sages of Naimisharanya, headed by the sage Shonaka, a descendant of Shukadeva Goswami. This, however, does not make any substantial difference in the topics under discussion. This Srimad Bhagavatam always takes the form of a layered discourse. It's not merely a conversation between one person and another, but it goes down from layer to layer to layer. The Vyas said that Sutta said that Sukadeva Goswami said, who in turn speaks of what Parikshit Maharaj inquired, or what was said by the Kumaras or by Maitreya, and then it goes down and down through many levels. I remember when we were first publishing Srimad Bhagavatam from, say, maybe from the first canto, Hayagriva Prabhu, as the editor, had naturally put quotation marks around what was said. And the quotation marks started going deeper and deeper. So you had the opening quotation mark because it's Suta Goswami speaking. But then at the end of the first canto, Sukadev shows up. So now a second set of quotation marks. And then we begin speaking about what other people said. So by the time we get to third canto here, the quotation marks were running pretty thick. And we made the editorial decision to skip the quotation marks entirely, except in cases of directly embedded, quotations directly embedded in a verse, because what reader would be able to keep track of those quotes within quotes, within quotes, within quotes? Even what editor would be able to keep those layers of quotation marks intact? So this is the nature of the Bhagavatam's discourse. Authorities referring to authorities, referring to authorities, referring to still earlier authorities. So here we've been hearing from Maitreya and Vidura speaking as related by Sukadeva Goswami, and as further related by Suta Goswami to the sages of Naimisharanya. So now suddenly we're being pulled back. The quotations, as it were, have been between Vidura and Maitreya, and now we're being pulled all the way back to Suta Goswami and the sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Shonaka Rishi. But as Srila Prabhupada comments, it doesn't really make a difference as far as the discourse is concerned, because they've been there all along. All along it's been Suta Goswami speaking to the sages of Naimisharanya, but the Suta Goswami, Sutu Vacha, appears and only appears to represent a break in the text. The Evam Sanchodita, so Vidura was speaking, please enlighten us on these topics. And Sanchodita, in this way he's encouraging the speaker, and the speaker was encouraged, Sanchodita. Sanchodita impelled to speak, encouraged to speak. Prita, being pleased, and Pratyaha, he spoke in reply to the questions. Hridistan, from the core of the heart, and Vishwanath comments that from the core of the heart means that he was able to remember the questions. He kept them in his heart. Hridistan, they were kept in his heart, so he was able to remember the questions. Those of us who answer lots of questions in class can appreciate that keeping track of a lot of questions is quite an accomplishment. We have Tulsi Priya with a question or comment.
Maharaj, what you were just reading from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, it's sort of, it changed what I was going to say, but I'm going to say it anyways, because maybe it's another angle of vision, or I'm not sure. When it said everything was in his heart, it reminded me of when Krishna is compared, now I'm not even sure I'm remembering, but Arjuna is compared to the calf who's questioning Krishna, and the milk is the Bhagavad Gita. And so when I was hearing that everything was in his heart, I was imagining, the expression, his heart was full, like he had so much to say on the topic, and he wanted to speak it, and then being asked those questions is like a cow being milked. And then I remembered, didn't Prabhupada somewhere say that I'm like a cow?
Yeah, wherever I go, I'll give milk.
Yeah. But it was very moving to me when it said everything was in his heart, and that he was enlivened by the questions. So I just...
Nice. As Vaisheshika Prabhu says, distribute the overflow. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikamiye. The Brahma was enlightened from within the heart by the Lord. So similarly here, coming in the disciplic line, the heart is filled, and as you say, it's overflowing, and then one becomes eager to speak also to a qualified listener. Yes.
I was just thinking, when this really nice point, Hridistam, he was able to hold the questions. And I was thinking there's a tendency, I don't know if you've experienced this, but sometimes you're thinking so hard about your question that you only remember your own question later on and you forgot the answer. I don't know if you've ever had that experience, but I was feeling like it really is a blessing, Hridistam, to be able to hold on to. I just thought it was humorous that in my experience I've had it the other way, being someone who doesn't answer so many questions, being the one asking more. Sometimes I remember my question because it was something poignant to me, but I wasn't able to hold on to the answer, and I have to ask the same question again later on.
This is our situation in the present age, that we don't remember. Experts in memory, mundane experts in memory, have pointed out that memories are affected. We say the common concept of memory is that it's something like a well. You put the bucket in, and there's all this stuff in the well, and you just haul it out. And the memory experts have said it's not quite like that. What you remember depends on various things. What else was happening at the time, and what you were paying attention to. If I'm not paying attention to begin with, then what do I have to remember? If while the answer is being given, I'm still thinking of my question, or in some other way distracted, then it's hard for me to remember, because I wasn't there to begin with. My attention wasn't there. So this is sort of the nature of the age that our attention is splayed and our memories are poor. In previous ages, people would hear once from the teacher and remember for life. They would hear once from the teacher and remember for life. And we hear again and again, and still we don't remember. Still we don't remember. Well, this is, and we think we're very intelligent and so on, but this is the nature of the age. It has to be, you have to hear again and again. Srila Prabhupada, we saw his teaching method involved repeating and repeating and repeating the important instructions. He would repeat and repeat and repeat because our tendency is to forget. And so, yes. Thank you. Anything else? Prabhin says Bhagavatam is a conversation of conversations. Maitreya vacha virinshopi tata chokre divyang varsha shatam tapaha Atmanyatmanam avesha yataha bhagavana jaha. The greatly learned sage Maitreya said, O Vidura, Brahma thus engaged himself in penances for 100 celestial years and applied himself in devotional service to the Lord. Purport: that Brahma engaged himself for the personality of Godhead, Narayan, means that he engaged himself in the service of the Lord. That is the highest penance one can perform for any number of years. There's no retirement from such service, which is eternal and ever encouraging. Vrinshopi tata chakre divyam varsha shatam tapaha. So Lord Brahma underwent austerities for 100 years by engaging in devotional service. Atmani atmanam avesha. And Prabhupada said, no retirement, devotional service. And we saw Srila Prabhupada never retired from devotional service. One retires from mundane service, but there's no retirement from devotional service, which is eternal and ever encouraging. Yes, Tulsi Priya.
The comment about retiring reminds me of a conversation I had with Balabhadra Bhattacharya Prabhu, who is a senior well-wisher of mine, and I had not seen him for a few years. And I saw him, and he's always posting on Facebook about distributing books. And I said, yeah, I always see you're so busy, you're always out and about and distributing books. He says, yes, devotees and friends say, when are you going to retire? He says, but I'm not going to retire. And he says, even though I'm I think he's over 70 something now. And he says, I'm not going to retire. I'm never going to retire. And I said, no, you just need to rest a little more often. He liked that. He said, yes, that's it. Exactly. I just need to rest more often than I used to, but I'm not going to stop,
Yes. On the other side, there's the chapter of Bhagavatam, the Pandavas retire timely. So although one never retires from devotional service, one may retire from a particular set of responsibilities or particular post. I don't think this line from the purport serves persuasively as a proof text that one should hold on to one's position or one's post until until they remove the respirators.
But what he's saying there is that one does not retire from devotional service. You might retire from a specific activity, but not from devotional service itself, right?
Yes. Yes. We saw our Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu here in Vrindavan, who served for so many years as the cook for Krishna Balaram and Company. And at a certain stage, he couldn't continue just because of old age. It took 5 brahmacharis to replace him, but he retired from that cooking service. And then he went on to sit in the temple and distribute Charanamrita to the devotees. So he didn't retire from devotional service, but only from a particular service. Praveen says, if Brahma has got the blessings of the Lord for creation, why then the penances again? Why didn't he start with creation immediately? Let's look at that for a moment. It's not clear to me that this is a new set of, whether this is a new set of austerities or a summary of what's already, what Brahma has already done. I don't have a clear picture on that, whether he newly engaged himself in penances or whether this is essentially a summary of what Brahma has already engaged in. Okay. Even if it's a new set of austerities, all right, let's get further prepared. Anything else? Okay. Tadvilokyabja samputo vayuna yadhishtitaha padmam ampashchatatkala krita viryena kampitam. Thereafter, Brahma saw that both the lotus on which he was situated and the water on which the lotus was growing were trembling due to a strong, violent wind. Purport. The material world is called illusory because it is a place of forgetfulness of the transcendental service of the Lord. Thus, one engaged in the Lord's devotional service in the material world may sometimes be very much disturbed by awkward circumstances. There's a declaration of war between the two parties, the illusory energy and the devotee. And sometimes the weak devotees fall victim to the onslaught of the powerful illusory energy. Lord Brahma, however, was sufficiently strong by the causeless mercy of the Lord, and he could not be victimized by the material energy although it gave him cause for anxiety when it managed to totter the existence of his position. The Vishwanath comments that this wind and water had were moving in this way because of the power they had from the previous devastation, Kalakrita Viryena. Let's see what's here. Tadvilokya abja samputa. Brahma is abja samputa, born from the lotus. Vayuna adhishtita. He's situated on the lotus, and Vayuna Padmam Ampascha, both the lotus and the water were moving, Kampita, trembling, Viryena, by the strong force of Tat Kalakrita, the force of time, about which we'll hear more later. Anything further here? This, in the purport, devotees are sometimes disturbed by awkward circumstances. By the nature of time, the material world presents awkward circumstances. Everything seems to be going fine, and then time sends us a problem, an obstacle, a conundrum, and or an illusory attraction, and the devotee can become bewildered. But if the devotee is strong, like Lord Brahma, then he's not disturbed even by the greatest disturbance. What is that in the Bhagavad Gita? Gurunapi vichalyate. What is that? Dukkha Chapram lava manyate narikam tata yasmin stato nadukena gurunapi vichalyate. When one is yam labdva chapram labam, when one is firmly situated in Krishna consciousness, then even the heaviest disturbance, navichalyate, doesn't disturb him. That's the sign of an advanced devotee. Whatever may come, he remains fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. A less advanced devotee may sometimes be disturbed by awkward circumstances. He may even fall, but an advanced devotee remains staunch. And of course, the implication is that one should become an advanced devotee. One should not remain weak in devotional service. One should be strong by hearing, by chanting, by following regulative principles, by keeping association with devotees, so that when awkward circumstances do come, which they will, he'll be strongly situated, and he won't be knocked over by the winds of time. Saraswati says, I find that many times we are placed in a conundrum where theoretically we know a difficult situation we experience is illusory, but still we need to respond to it and may not immediately know how to respond in a way that doesn't hamper the spiritual journey. What can we do to make correct responses? A practice. Abhyasena tu kaunteya, vairagyena cha kriyate. the soldiers in the boot camp are drilled in various kinds of responses, so that when they actually come to the battlefield, it's automatic. The untrained soldier, there's when there's combat, he doesn't know what to do. He's lost. Or he hears gunshots. What do I do? But the trained soldier knows, okay, this is what I do, because he's done it again and again and again in training. So he practically, it becomes automatic reflex. Or he thinks for a moment and then he knows, okay, this is what I do, because he's trained. So one has to be trained under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master. It's not enough just to have theoretical knowledge, but training is needed. Training is needed. The trained devotee will come out successful. Also, experience. Prabhupada sometimes talks about the experienced devotee. Experience means, okay, we've seen this before. We've seen this before. Because he's experienced, he knows, all right, this is just another one of those. He knows what it is. He knows what the outcome would be. Maya dangles something in front of his vision. He knows, okay, this is that trick again. And if I fall for it, this is going to be the result. So he's experienced. Either he's experienced by hearing, he's heard of the experience of great souls, or the experience of even not so great souls, but he's heard from the authorities. So he has experience by hearing. He doesn't have to go through it personally. Or he's had the experience. He may have been burned, and once burned, twice shy. He knows that this is what happened before, so I don't want that to happen again. So experience, they say experience is the greatest teacher. Not sure we agree with that, but experience certainly teaches. And hearing teaches. And practice teaches. Before we get to Murari, Tulsi Priya, a devotee may be strong, but isn't Maya even stronger? If she wants to knock you down, won't she just increase her efforts? Or is there a limit to how much effort she puts into trying to lead one astray? Or is it a case of how much one maintains their material attachments? Also, sometimes someone appears so strong, but they are revealed to be very weak, while others do not appear to be of much account, yet they are steady in all circumstances. Well, mame viye prapadyante, maya me tam tarantite. Everyone is weak. Brahma professes weakness and therefore approaches the Lord for guidance and protection. I'm going to have to create this universe with so many demonic beings. So I don't want to fall into Maya. You please protect me. You please protect me. So Daivi Yesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durachaya. Maya is certainly divinely powerful, but therefore we have to depend on Krishna. And that's the strength of the devotee, not just that he's personally glorified by his own assets, but ultimately that he depends on Krishna. There's so many strong men, they're wealthy, they're powerful, they're intellectually sharp, they're shrewd, they're this, they're that, and yet they get bewildered. They're renounced even, but they get bewildered. But the person who places himself under the divine protection, Taivim Prakritim Ashrita, is protected always. However much Maya ratchets up the war. Maharaj Prabhupada often talks about Maya in terms of our enemy or opponent, but she's working under Krishna's direction, who is our best friend. How to accommodate both angles. Yes, Krishna is our friend, and so reluctantly he provides the illusions we're intent on as conditioned souls. That's one answer. Maybe that's, Another is that the tribulations offered by Maya serve to glorify the devotee. The Maya appears to be the enemy. As Prabhupada, the Prahlad Maharaj says, there's only one enemy, the mind. So if one conquers the mind and takes shelter of the super soul, then he's glorified, even by Maya. Haridas, Bhishmadev said, "Oh, what terrible sufferings and what terrible injustices you good souls suffer for being the sons of religion personified. You did not deserve to remain alive under those tribulations. Yet you were protected by the Brahmins, God, and religion." Yeah, the Brahmins or Vaishnavas will protect us, the personality of Godhead, and Dharma. Indradyumna Maharaj likes to quote, I think, Dharma Rakshati, like that. The one who protects Dharma is protected by Dharma. Saraswati. Is our spiritual progress, is our spiritual progress? No. It is even if typoed. If our spiritual progress is never lost, then do we instinctively become averse to bad responses made in previous lifetimes, effectively preventing us from making the same mistakes? Yes. An impious person is automatically inclined to impious deeds on account of the tendencies of his previous life. And a person who has pious credit is automatically inclined to the service of the Lord or to pious action in the In the 6th chapter, Avashopitat. Purvabhyasena yogena Riyate Yavashopi Saha. Avasha means automatically or helplessly or without control, without effort. Automatically, we see there's some sinful activity in one child's, ooh, and he's attracted in another. Ew. Why? Why is one child attracted to foolish or vicious or activity, and another child repelled? It may be automatic because of his previous assets, or you may say, well, it's because he was well trained by his parents. That also comes from previous credit. By virtue of previous credit, Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Brashta. One may have practiced yoga previously and not completed it, but he gets the opportunity to take birth in a good family. These days in the Krishna consciousness movement, we see so many devotees who are born in good families. Either they're born in devotee families or they're born in pious families. Here in India, we see there's so many people born of pious families. Sometimes even in the West, a more pious rather than less pious family. Here in India, especially, exceedingly pious backgrounds, or to devotee families. So then one gets the training. Parikshit Maharaj from the very beginning was given dolls of the Lord to play with. So naturally, the person born in a good family is trained. No, you don't. This is wrong. This is right. Do this. Don't do that. This is your duty. This is the right way to act. Person in a less fortunate birth has parents who don't know themselves. They don't know themselves how to act. Pravrittim cha, nivrittim cha, janana vidarasra, especially if they're demonic, they get it backwards. They get it backwards. What's forbidden, they think is good. What you should do, they think it's just some musty old tradition. So by good fortune, one is well trained, or even without training. Prahlad Maharaj was trained the opposite way by his teachers. But the training couldn't do anything because he had transcendental attributes, Daivi Sampad, Majuja Sampadam Daivi, Abhijatosi Bharata. Lord Krishna described the divine and demonic natures, but he told Arjuna, don't worry, Majuja Sampadam Daivi Abhijatasya. You were born with divine qualities. Automatically, the person with divine qualities will be attracted toward divinity, and the person with demonic qualities automatically attracted the other way. But even those who are born with demonic qualities, Kirata Hunandra, Belinda Pulkasha, Abhirashpa, those born with poor backgrounds, spiritually poor backgrounds, culturally poor backgrounds. Shudyanti Yadapashraya. If they take shelter of one who's taken shelter of the Lord, can become fully pure. Anything else? Okay. Then we can, let's see, I think we should stop here. There we are. Yes, we can stop here. Thank you all very much. Are you leading kirtan again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Punaman Suparivrajacharya Ashtotra Sri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Raj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kundigiri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Gangamai Ki Jai Ramanamai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Lakshmana. All right. Hare Krishna. Meena.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Shraddha and Haridas. Hare Krishna. All right.
Thank you everyone for being here. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayādvaita Maharaj Ki Jai.
Yeah.
Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande.
Haribo.
Jai. Krishna Kantiya.